Welcome to Personal Injury Marketing Minute.
Welcome to the Personal Injury Marketing Minute, where we quickly cover the hot topics in the legal marketing world. I'm your host, Lindsey Busfield, the Vice President and Partner at Optimize My Firm. Today, I'm joined by Riz Ali, the founder of Riz Injury Law in Chicago. Riz is a personal injury attorney who started his own firm in one of the most competitive legal markets in the country. Beyond practicing law, he's deeply interested in entrepreneurship, marketing, and business growth, making him uniquely positioned to talk about what it takes to build a firm from the ground up. Today, we're talking about what it's like being a smaller firm in a major market, how to compete with larger competitors, and the opportunities that can exist when you're willing to think differently. Thank you so much for joining us today, Riz. I'm so excited to have you on the show.
Thank you for having me, Lindsay. It's my honor.
So Riz and I met at PILMA this year, 2026, in San Antonio just a few weeks ago, and I was captivated by his story. And especially being someone who started his own firm in Chicago, which is a market that we tend to steer away from just because of how competitive and challenging it is. But you have managed to build a successful firm, and just by being creative, being persistent, and thinking about things differently and going at it in a way that most attorneys are scared to do. So, I want to dive into who you are and a little bit of your background. So, tell us, why did you pick Chicago? What brought you out there?
School, to be honest. I actually really wanted to go to LA for law school. My passion is film acting, so I thought I'd go to LA, do law school, pursue that, and merge entertainment law into my passion. But I got into DePaul Law School, and it's also closer to family because I'm from St. Louis. I also had started a business before law school, so I could be close to that. Chicago is where I ended up, and loved my time at DePaul, and it's just it just I was like, you know what? All my colleagues are here. I got my license here, so my first license was Chicago here, Illinois. So I was like, I might as well stay here to start my practice.
Absolutely. And I mean, as you said, your connections were there. And that is something that I am sure has played a huge role in at least the foundation of your success is building relationships. So can you talk to us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so I'm blessed to have a really, really incredible mentor. Uh, some of you may have heard of a law firm called Cordell and Cordell. That's with a C. They're a national family law office, and Mr. Cordell is one of the biggest blessings of my life. And one of the things he told me was that when you're in law school, just network, meet people. So while I am new to Chicago because I don't have any family here, when I moved up here, really didn't have any friends, maybe a couple of college or high school classmates that too sparse here and there. But through law school, I did networking, met people, and kind of built that, the professional network, so to speak. So starting my firm was all those people really giving me all kinds of guidance to basically start.
And that guidance and from other people's experience is invaluable. And especially when you're in a market that is as saturated and as competitive as Chicago. So, what advice in particular has stood out to you as you try to get clients in the door?
So I met with an attorney, another plaintiff's attorney. My first really deep dive conversation was actually through Mr. Cordell. He's friends with Ed Herman of Brown and Crouppen. So Mr. Cordell was kind enough to set that up for me, and Ed just really laid down so much great insights for me. I was literally taking notes. I came home after that lunch. But one of the things he taught me, he goes, Riz, there's a lot of these big guys, these billboard guys, and other firms. They have cases they don't want. They are happy to refer it out. So you want to get in front of as many of these lawyers as possible and say, hey, if you got a case, send it my way. Your criteria is if you can make money, even if it's a $10,000 case, $25,000 muni case, no problem. You pay them their referral fee, and now you're building a relationship with that law firm. But more importantly, if you do a good job, you're building a relationship with that client who's probably maybe been pushed around to multiple law firms before they got to you. So start with that. So that's what I did really focused on in my first year and a half. Was just going to every kind of l- s- bar event imaginable and meeting people, letting them know, here's my card, new lawyer. If you got any cases to refer out, send them my way.
And nurturing those relationships is critical. And I'm sure that staying in constant contact with the people that you're meeting is a big piece of that as well as doing right by the cases. Because when you do right by one of their clients that has been pushed around and has been turfed to the side, and you are the guy who comes in and is essentially the hero of the day saying, yes, I'll take your case and I'll work hard for you, that person then becomes a walking billboard
Yeah.
for you. And that is critical because everybody now in their network is going to rely on that person's referral because that's probably the one person that they know that's ever used a personal injury attorney before. And if you have somebody who is actively singing your praises, that is a giant marketing tool for
Yep.
you.
Yep. Totally, totally, totally. And it's interesting, lawyers really are risk averse. So in my first year, not many people gave me cases. And then now a lot of those same people are seeing me over and over. And it's like, okay, this guy's still here. And now there's more referrals coming from attorneys that it's awesome. It's really great. So yes, nurturing those relationships, continue to just show up. If you get a no, it's okay, continue to just be there. And truthfully, you can't just be about, oh, this guy didn't give me a case, so forget him. No, it's like, hey, that's cool. You got your own deal, no problem. If anything shows up, great. If not, great. I'm here, and I'm gonna continue to do what I gotta do.
Absolutely.
Yes, doing good for those clients is really important because I'll give you one example. This one client who got dumped by three different law firms came to me. There was no coverage. He had maybe $10,000 in medical bills, and I'm like, fine, we'll take the case. He did some investigations, figure out a way. It took us about 3 4 months to figure out the other person's identity and then the policy. And this guy, he didn't really care about the injury case. Unfortunately, at the time, he didn't have insurance and he had a $25,000 brand new car. So he's like, I gotta get this car. I can't be stuck with this note. So I was like, we finally got the identity. Thankfully, they paid for the car. We got him his, PI settlement. Nothing big, but this guy has been our billboard. He sent us, I want to say, 4 or 5 clients already. You know, so it's like those kinds of things are invaluable. If the cost to a PI lead on average, everybody's saying is between whatever, 1,500, 2,000, 3,000, right? So this client, if he sent us 3 cases, that's really $10,000 almost in marketing costs.
Right. It absolutely makes up for that just because you were willing to help someone out who really didn't have that much of a personal injury case itself, but really needed an advocate for the legal process as opposed to the financial side of the injuries. And that's something that you're able to take on because you're a smaller firm. You don't have to abide by the standards and guidelines that someone in a larger practice might have to. And that's a big difference and that's a huge advantage. And so when you're competing against other firms that, are larger and they do have bigger budgets and stronger name recognition and all of that that goes into it. Uh, as a small firm, are there any other advantages that you have that you see?
I don't have a lot of files, right? So that means, here I'm blessed to be in an office with another attorney who there's a lot of attorneys in my office. One of them is personal injury, John Ranieri. God bless him. He's been so instrumental. He goes, Riz, you have a lot of cases, so work these files, and he guides me in so many ways. whatever it is, going background checks, FOIA requests, staying on top of, discovery, motion practices, and just pushing the file because it's like they'll pay. And he's right. Every time they've paid. So that's one advantage is the ability to work on files. The other thing is, um, I meet my clients if I can. If they're willing to come here, I'm great. If they're out and about somewhere and I'm in their area, I'm like, hey, let's meet for coffee. Um, and they really appreciate that. So that's the other nice advantage.
Yeah, and it is an advantage that you have as a smaller firm. Not, I mean, yes, it'd be nice to make, the multi-million dollars that those larger firms have, but the quality of life that that affords you, not only to being able to have the smaller caseload and, I mean, clearly you still work many, many hours a week, but to be able to have the relationships in place and in and of itself, that sounds like it's a very rewarding piece for you.
Yes, I love the customer client interaction, to be honest. It's my favorite part.
And so, what would you tell an attorney who is, debating whether or not to move into one of these saturated markets? How would you advise them to evaluate whether or not this could be a good fit for their law firm?
I'm not an expert. I'm still figuring things out, but I think I love what Stephen Covey has in Seven Habits of Highly Effective People. Begin with the end in mind. What's your goal? And work backwards and have a commitment and figure it out. It doesn't, if you want to be in Chicago or New York, LA, whatever market, wherever, right? Every market is competitive now. I mean, I listen to a lot of podcasts. Everybody says their market's competitive. Everybody's competitive. That's just let's not beat that drum. Rather, it's like, you know what? What am I gonna do to achieve my goals, right? And if my goal is XYZ, then what am I willing to give up to attain that goal? And once you align like that, the challenges are really there, but they're there to be overcome.
And I love that mentality because that can give you a real roadmap for what you need to do and whether or not it is actually attainable.
Yeah.
Because if you start with your goals in mind, and so let's say my goal is to have 15 cases a month or 30 cases a month. In this market, what am I going to need to do in order to realistically achieve that? And for a lot of law firms, that's going to be putting in different marketing strategies that will work. Okay, well, here's the spend for that, and here's the spend for this city versus this city based on the competition in that market. And how many, hours are you gonna have to put into the actual caseload, and how many hours are you gonna have to put into marketing and business development, and who are you gonna have to hire? So by having that goal first, you can work backwards and build the map and see, okay, if this is my priority in terms of money, in terms of time, and in terms of case volume, is that realistic? So I think that's a great way to approach figuring out which markets are actually realistic for the goals that you have in mind.
Yep, totally.
And so clearly for any market that you work in, if you're going to be getting clients, you do need to do some marketing. And are there any marketing strategies that you have found that work particularly well for you and your firm in Chicago?
Two things. I'm from Pakistan, and it's not a big community, but there's a decent sized community that's Pakistani, Indian, Muslim oriented, and a lot of the community, they do these bazaars where people want to. Essentially, it's like a cultural festival that happen throughout. And I go to those events and I set up a booth and we hand out cards, mugs, pens, whatever else, We hand out, mugs, pens, and cards, and people love it. But I myself go there. I will stand there. I will spend my Saturday or an evening or a Sunday talking to people. A lot of those people come up asking free advice and I don't mind it. I will, whatever I know, I'm a personal injury lawyer, but there's other things I know, right? So I can certainly give people slight guidance and then also um, take their information, refer them to my referral partners. Now those lawyers are happy because I'm sending them cases, and it's a way to say, hey, send me cases if you get anything. Um, so that's worked very well for me. So basically, leaning into my community, number one, and then number two, social media content. I try to post about 3 or 4 videos a week. And while at those different places, we promote our social media so people can give us following. I think those two have been, outside of course, networking and meeting people, the direct marketing, those two things have been so far um, effective. They don't yield results right away, but it creates a certain cascade effect. If you can, like now, I've been doing a lot of these events for about 2 years now. But about a year ago, my friend was like, "Riz, why aren't you capturing emails from all these people?" I'm like, "Oh my god, you're totally right." So we got emails. So now we've got a separate email built out for that community. So we have a separate newsletter that goes to them, biweekly. And it's a way to just stay in front of those people, in addition to the social media. Because some of these people are older. Excuse me. Some of these people don't use social media. So we get their emails and they check their emails. So it's another way to be in front of those same people and basically retarget. It's hard to cast a wide net. It's very expensive to cast a wide net, but to point at a micro target is a bit more effective and perhaps less costly. It may not yield the results as fast, um, as big, as some of these firms are looking for, which that's their strategy. But for me, it's like, okay, what can for me, shoot, man, if I get a case, I'm happy, right? Because it's a case. One case out of one event, it pays for the expenses, pays for the day. It's a win. So it's like a slow, long-term, really goal here.
And I love that. And I love the approach of niching down or micro targeting. And this is something that I'm a huge advocate of, especially in these giant markets. And part of it comes down to framing your mentality because you can look at Chicago as a whole, as a community, and be like, this is my community. And it is, as you said, very expensive to get a fraction of a percentage of the cases that are within that community. But if you look at a sub community or a niche as as a whole community in and of itself, there's a very large population and a substantial community within that niche. And if you can find that, whether it is a cultural niche that you are a part of, or if you're a member of a cycling community and that becomes your culture and your community, or if there is any other community that you can build with a large enough population, you can absolutely target a much larger percentage of the people within that particular community and build a great practice out of that and build cases if you focus your marketing to target that particular demographic. And if we're honest with ourselves, we like to do business with people that we have things in common with. And whether it is culturally in common, or if I have somebody that, I plays pickleball, then yes, like I'm going to remember them and want to do business with them because I feel like we have some sort of shared value system. And that's absolutely true when it comes down to a cultural niche. And so do you find that people do tend to gravitate to you and to trust you more because you have some of those cultural commonalities?
Yes, definitely. And I speak the language. A lot of the people don't speak the language, so that barrier helps. That's why, hence a lot of targeting of the Spanish community. It works.
Yeah.
And the other thing is, people appreciate the fact that, like, I, as a lawyer, here I am hanging out at this booth and just giving them free advice. That really hits them home. And for me, it's like, really, it's about building a relationship, oftentimes the average person is not breaking the law, right? The average person is not out there committing fraud. And when they do, things do happen, it's really accidental. So to just give them guidance is really I love to do it because I've been in fair share of issues myself in the past where you get a ticket or a family member gets in an accident or you do something stupid and you're like, oh crap, so now you need a lawyer. You call this lawyer, that lawyer, and oftentimes it's so hard to get to them, right? You've got assistance, and now you're just standing there talking to them and they appreciate that.
Absolutely. That goes a long way. And you don't have to have all the answers, but you do know who you can put them in touch with.
Hey, you know what? Give me your number, give me your email. I'll talk to a lawyer. I'll get those questions answered. I'll shoot them to you. And if you want to work with him, her, I'll just make an introduction, and you guys can take it from there. So it's a way to kind of build relationship with the lawyers and the clients.
And when it comes down to it, at the end of the day, when you are niche marketing or when you are trying to stand out in a really saturated market, the way that you're going to stand out is your reputation. And that reputation is built on relationships. So you have done a fantastic job of building those relationships through grassroots marketing initiatives, through just community building, and being that ally and resource for the members of your community. And that has a great ripple effect to bring in clients, even in a market that is as saturated as Chicago. And so, if an attorney is listening to this right now and is going, man, I really want to emulate that. I'm stuck in my really busy, saturated market. And let's face it, they're all saturated markets at this point. Uh, what is one last piece of advice that you would share?
There's I go to a lot of seminars, to learn, because learning is key. And there's so many ways to market. There's so many ways to market. So this is a tip for myself too. It's like just focus on, figure out one or two or three things and go work them out and test them. Um, but people need this high tech world. People crave touch. And if you can create that, that's gonna not only be good for you and your soul, I think, um, and you're doing it with the intention of just building a relationship and being there for someone if they need you, if they need your help. It'll just create a cascade effect. You'll be happier. I'm happier. There's still a lot of challenges, but still, I now like what I do because I don't see it as a chore. It's like it's fun. So I would say just pick one or two things and focus on that. Everybody's doing, I mean, I'm not in the category of, SEO, PPC, blow, so much tens of thousands of dollars there. If you are, then that's your strategy. Go with it, right? If you can compete with that. If not, then pick something small, pick some events, pick some ways to just go out there and meet people. And there's plenty of work out there. Have that abundant mindset. There's plenty of work out there. You just, like John Morgan says, you just got to put yourself in a position to be lucky.
Yes, absolutely. And there's always something that you can do to bring in business, to build relationships, even if you don't want to think of it as marketing or sales. It's getting yourself out there, letting people know that you exist.
That's it. That's all it is. Look, we're lawyers. We need to just go out there and shake hands, and the rest will follow.
It will. And ultimately nobody can hire you if they don't know that you exist. And so whatever way resonates best for you, for your firm, for your market, for your budget, do something to let people know that you are here to help and that you are an advocate for them.
It's just, I think it's easy to get comfortable as lawyers. So that's where you got to figure out, what do you want? What are your goals? Are you looking for six figures? Are you looking for seven figures? Are you looking for a business that runs without you? What are you looking for? And your goals will align with it, right? Because there's plenty of work out there. I believe that.
There is, and that's absolutely true, 100%. And that's going to wrap up today's episode of the Personal Injury Marketing Minute. If you want to learn more about Riz Ali and the Riz Injury Law Firm, you can check them out at rizinjurylaw.com. And if you want to learn more about different marketing strategies, maybe find something else that can work for you, check out my new book, which is How Personal Injury Lawyers Get Leads.
I love your book, Lindsay. It's a great book. One of my comments I made, like I said, is there's a lot of ways to do marketing. Pick one or two routes. And your book does such a good job in breaking down saying, here's this, here's pros and cons, here's the application of it. It's literally like a spark notes for marketing. I think everybody needs to get this book. Um, Highly recommend it. It's a really, really good book. It's a fast read. It's literally just broken down into section by section. It's really, really, really good. I highly recommend it. She did not pay me to say that, just so you know. I actually grabbed her book by accident at her booth, and I was reading through it, sitting here, and I'm like, this is really good. I highly recommend it. Absolutely.
Well, I'm going to sit over here and blush for a little bit, but thank
You
you so
should,
much,
you
Riz.
should, you
I
should, you
appreciate
should.
the
And
kind
then
words on
also
that.
for those listening, if you're on social media, please give us a follow. Lawyer with Riz, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, LinkedIn, wherever. We would appreciate likes, shares, comments.
We'll make sure to put that in the show notes so that people can find you and learn more and connect with you and hopefully send you some cases that they are looking to offload themselves. Thank you for listening and thank you for liking and subscribing to the show and keep tuned for more upcoming episodes. Thank you again, Riz. It's been an absolute pleasure having you on.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks for watching. Be sure to hit that like and subscribe button and leave us a review in the comments.